Core Math. How are you today? Happy Monday. Quick reminder, please make sure you keep that positive mental attitude, especially on a Monday when you're working on independent work. So you should have the Google practice form up on your screen, but I want to go through a few practice problems first, right? So if you are watching this, stop this and copy down 1, 2, 3 examples. Press pause. Once you do that, come back. So we are practicing today simplifying expressions, breaking down expressions. And the two things we use when we are doing that are the distributive property and combining like terms. Those are our two tools to use when we are simplifying equations or expressions. So remember how the distributive property works, right? The distributive property is when we take the term that is outside of the parentheses and multiply it by everything that's on the inside. So in this first example, we would do 3 times 2 and 3 times positive 5x. 3 times 2 gives us 6. 3 times 5x gives us positive 15x. Simplified all the way, because these are not like terms. There's nothing more we can do. Second example, it's important to remember that whatever sign is with the term on the outside, that is included. So here we're going to do negative 6 times negative 3 and negative 6 times positive 2y. Negative 6 times negative 3 gives us positive 18. Negative 6 times positive 2y gives us negative 12y. Or we could write this as 18 plus negative 12y. So that's the distributive property, first tool that we are going to be using. On your practice sheet, the distributive property problems are down at the bottom. So looking at this easy example first, you could do that on your own. We're going to come back to this in a second. But first, let's look at a review combining like terms. So remember what that means. That means when we have an expression like this, where there's no parentheses, we combine things that are alike. So if we look, we're looking for things that have the same exact variable or regular numbers. So I see that we have 2y and positive 3y. That's first. 2y plus 3y. That's going to give us 5y. Second, we have some constants here. Positive 5 and positive 7 are both regular numbers with no variable. So that's our second group. 5 plus 7 gives us 12. And now lastly, there's this negative 5x all by itself. There's nothing to go with that. So that's just by itself. Now we have to rewrite this. So we put our simplified terms in a new expression. So we had positive 5y plus 12. And we can't forget about this one, minus 5x. And that's simplified all the way because there's nothing more that we can combine. There's no more like terms. So those are the two tools that we use, distributive property and combining like terms. So let's look at your practice sheet, but make sure you keep these as examples. So up top, you have 6 combining like terms problems. We're going to look at the first one together. So if we look, what are the terms that are alike, meaning the ones that have the same variables, or regular numbers, right? So negative 3 and negative 1. So we've got negative 3 plus negative 1. And then all the other 3 terms all have a p. So we've got negative 5p plus negative 8p plus negative 10p. Negative 5p plus negative 8p plus negative 10p. So negative 3 plus negative 1 gives us negative 4. Negative 5 plus negative 8 gives us negative 13. Plus negative 10 gives us negative 23p. You can use a calculator to add these negatives together if you want. Now remember, we have to rewrite this. negative 23p minus 4, or negative 23p plus negative 4. These are the same thing. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 combining like terms problems. Stop the video and go do those. So you should have done this already. Now let's look at distributive property. This is just like the examples that we went over. I'm not going to do that one with you, but let's look at a problem like this, because there's distributive property we have to do, but also these terms afterwards. So let's watch what happens. Remember, distribute. This is a negative 3, gets multiplied by 3v and by negative 7. So this negative 3 times positive 3 gives us negative 9v. Negative 3 times negative 7 gives us positive 21. Now what happens with these two? They just come down. Plus 7v plus 2. So we did our first step of distributive property. Now we have to combine like terms. So let's look here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 2 of them have v's, and 2 of them are regular numbers. So we can put the regular numbers together. 21 plus 2 gives us 23. Negative 9 plus 7 gives us negative 2v. Finished. So in problems where there's more than one parentheses, you have to do both of the parentheses first. Distribute. 4 times 2 is 8x. 4 times 5 is positive 20. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x. Now what? Like terms. 8x plus negative 6x gives us 2x. 20 plus negative 15 gives us 5. Finished. So you need to finish all of these. You can send me a photo of this when you are finished. You can email me a photo of this when you are finished. You can submit it as a Google Doc through Schoology when you are finished. But I should be seeing some work from all of you. Office hours tomorrow. I know this is a long video, but hopefully you watch it.